call the Washington Township meeting to order. If we could start with a pledge of allegiance to the flag, and immediately following the pledge of allegiance to the flag, if we could stand for a moment of silence for those serving in our armed forces, both here and overseas, and for those who made the ultimate sacrifice in their life defending our freedoms. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the board meeting minutes dated August 6, 2012.
Make a move that we accept them.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? No discussion. Proceed to vote.
Elmer? Yes. Dan?
Yes.
Teresa? Bob?
Yes.
Ted?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll now open up our audience for public commentary. Yes, Jim?
My name is Jim Shanbeck. I'm here as a resident of Washington Township. I live on Kentucky Road. My comments pertain to the Iliana Expressway. Last meeting, I was told we could not discuss it. Shame on me for not knowing that we could have. If I was sitting up there, my decision would be a no bill. Where it's going is not needed. It's in the wrong location. Not being able to get information on overpasses till it's tier 2 or 3, whatever it is bogus. How can you make a decision without that information? I have a lot more, but I'll hold for now.
Okay, we did discuss it in length. We just couldn't take any action on it.
I'm sorry?
We discussed it in length, but we could not take any formal action on it
I didn't
because
know we discussed it.
it was not on the
It was discussed
agenda.
out here, it was not discussed up there during the meeting.
We interacted.
Really?
So, yeah.
I guess I missed it.
Okay.
Well, and I would hope, being that we were told that after the 29th, that your decision will still be accepted, I would hope to see some type of documentation at the next meeting that proves that is true. Because I'm sorry, I don't believe this.
Is there any other public commentary? Is there any other public commentary?
Well, I'm here relative to the York. I feel that it's a little before the agenda item, but I'm actually here to speak to the your appointment of the vacated seat of Teresa Peterson. I'm asking that the board affirm the supervisor's recommendation this evening for that particular vacated seat with Pat Peters, who has served this Washington Township in an exemplary way. She has brought transportation leadership forth, which all of you working with her made it possible for our residents, which I have to thank all of you, because nothing gets done for anybody unless you work totally together as a team. So our residents are way ahead of everything. And let's face it, I guess transportation is the buzzword. The Iliana, the third airport, but fortunately we have our own personal Washington Township transportation system, which would have never happened without Pat's expert leadership and knowledge of the transportation area and what she brings to the board. Her name is well known throughout the area. RTA knows her personally. PACE knows her personally. She writes the grants that bring all these dollars in, to thousands of dollars, to make it necessary to operate this system, which does not utilize any of our taxpayers' money. So I'm asking the board to affirm the supervisor's recommendation on filling this vacated trustee position. Thanks. You're doing a good job together.
Now, are you asking for yourself as John Q. Citizen, or are you asking as the head of the Republican?
No, this is not partisan.
I
As
just
far as I'm concerned, I have been a resident of Washington Township since 1958. I've raised my family here. I've got 4 grown sons. I've got 9 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren. So I am asking as a resident.
That's all I ask.
This is, as far as I'm concerned, there's no party lines in this room at all. None, because you're all here, you take an oath to work for the citizens and the residents of Washington Township. So, I leave my hat, I left my glass in the car, all right? I thank you. And
Thank
thank
you.
you for asking.
Thank you. Is there any other public commentary? Okay, we'll close public commentary. We can move on to reports. Highway Commissioner?
In my written, actions ongoing, ditch work, along with some culvert replacements, and drainage issues. And we're officially done with major tar and chipping for the year. We've done 1 mile of A2, 2 miles of A1, and a mile of edges in Ashland. There's been a rash of field dry culverts, heating being replaced, due to rusting out and smash and all that, that's been taken care of. Probably Monday morning, we'll be starting on Eagle Lake Road. Probably starting at Ashland and Eagle Lake and working our way to the west. That's our plan as of right now. We did some hauling of stone and trying to get ahead of the ragweed in the township. Seems like that's ongoing battle that we're working on.
Okay, any questions for Highway Commissioner? If not, we can move on to Assessor's report.
Well, the field staff and myself will probably be out more. You'll see us out more in the rural area and the village measuring, catching up on all that. The hot weather this summer, we probably went out there as much. We're been going out now. The appeal process is closed, so that's 8 new homes that we've had this last year. So lots of pole buildings and grain drying bins, et cetera. A lot out in the country this year.
Where were the new homes?
There were 2 in the country and there's 6 in the village.
Homes or townhomes? In the village?
Homes. Yeah, there's 4 Castletown, and then the 2 here reserved in Cardinal Creek, well, the one that wasn't anywhere near. Yeah, the lumber is laying there. And then there's 2 out in the country. Next year, 2013, should be, more new construction, because they'll be full for the full year versus partial assessments for this year. Because they'll be finished.
Any questions for Assessor? Clerk's report?
A newsletter, I think I sent everybody an email that the newsletter is going out October 25th, I think. As soon as you can get something to me to put in a newsletter, I would certainly appreciate it very much. The village has indicated that they're going to probably do color newsletter, full color this time around.
Yes.
So I don't know if you guys are interested in that. I'll get a quote for that, and I'll present that to the board at the October meeting if we're interested.
They're still selling the,
They're still selling it,
ads.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, that was part of the time limit. We want to put some coupons and some stuff in there.
Yeah, I try to go, I always try to be a week after the village, so that people don't think it's the same, and try to make it look different. So it obviously looks different to the village newsletter anyway, but.
Okay, thanks. Any questions for the clerk? Okay, we can move on to the Washington Township Planning Commission.
Nothing that I know.
Did Mike contact you about reference to Ileana? No? Okay.
I
Okay,
have a question.
sure.
I thought Mike Stanula was the planning commission.
Yeah, that's why I just asked if Mike contacted Mike.
Oh, Mike, Matt, I'm on the board with
Okay,
Mike.
you are.
Yeah.
Mike
I'm the
started.
secretary of the Will County Planning and Zoning Commission. I didn't know if you were
lot of hats.
Yeah,
You don't know all of
well,
them.
I'm just telling
Yeah.
you, and right now, there will be no, I do wear a lot of hats and titles. However, right now, there will be a mailing coming forth to the supervisor and the road commissioner relative to flag lots in Will County. Now, I don't know of any flag lots in Washington Township at all. Homer Township is loaded with them. So they're bringing, because of ordinance requirements, variances that people want to build on, they're gonna hold a public hearing on October 2nd. So the road commissioner is one of the most important people in everything. He's always notified with the supervisor on what's ever going on in the
With
flag.
the flag lots, what's your minimum sizing on that?
Well, they vary.
Well, that's why, I mean, what are you, what's the hearing on?
On
Is it the 1
the
acre or
public
the 5?
hearing of whether or not there should be variances issued to building on flag lots.
We have,
and you
there's a
know-
few, yeah, there's a few out there, but.
You know better than anybody, Jerry, because you've been, on the road, so you know where they are. And I don't know where,
There's a couple, but
Yeah.
planning commission has done a very good job of eliminating.
Yeah,
There was
flag lot that we've had the last several years, we
denied.
okay, well,
There's
that's
several.
good.
There's
But
several.
see, after it goes to you, it still goes to the board. It goes to my commission, which is the public hearing, then land use, which makes the actual vote on the recommendation to the full Will County board.
Can you tell me where this is gonna be at, what time?
Yes, the public hearing is at the Executive Building on Chicago Street, and it will be at 6:30 on October 2nd, which is a Tuesday. And you will see my smiling face then.
I always see your smiling face, you drive by me all the time.
I don't drive.
I'm just so short, you can't see me over the dash.
Oh, okay. I don't, you gotta sit up tall, so you can see me. Okay.
Okay, we can move on to the supervisor's report. There's quite a few things over the past month here. Actually, tonight, I was meeting with a group of homeowners in Cree Township unincorporated. They have the same type of issues that we have out here as far as the amount of deputies that are assigned out here right now and the response times. Currently, we're working with the Judicial Committee to increase our funding over here to actually help out and try to increase the coverage out here because they recently had a rash of burglaries, as we did out here too. I know the Hurlitzes were hit recently along with some cars or houses along the line there. They're stealing UTVs. It looks like they drive up on a UTV and they'll hop out and then they'll actually take whatever they would like to take. Everybody, I think, has to be diligent watching, if you can watch your neighbor's house or whatever. Right now, we have a sense of community out here. Basically, I know a male person, they generally know what's going on in the area. They can tell which cars should be there or shouldn't be there, that type of thing. I know we have deputies that actually live out here too, which is a great thing. I mean, with those cars out here, just simply having the car out here, that's a great thing. Along that process, the adjudication process that the county actually passed is starting to take effect now in the unincorporated areas. What that means is they're actually starting to write tickets, such as sound ordinances, that type of thing like that. I asked for a printout on it, so I'd like to bring one to one of our meetings here where we could actually look at it. So that means that basically now, if before they would write a ticket, Mike can back this up, is they would write a ticket and then they would turn it into the state's attorney, and the state's attorney was understaffed, so they couldn't take it. Well, now it goes to an adjudication process, which basically they hired an attorney as a judge, and they'll write a ticket with a fine, and then you'll go before them, and then they'll assess the fine. So that's one positive thing. I know that helps out here currently with the parties out in the unincorporated areas with the loud music, that type of thing.
Do you know where we're supposed to sign them to? Are they supposed to go to Joliet, to come out here, or is there a special place that I'm out there?
Right now, they're going to Joliet, so,
They go to Joliet.
yeah, it's still fluid, it's still in development stages, so we actually just had a presentation on it recently, so, but along the lines that affects us out here at the township, I think it's a positive right now, so. Along the lines of the Iliad Expressway, I attended the intergovernmental agreement. Jerry was there, I believe Mike was there. And basically, the whole discussion and the presentation was on the B3 corridor. The majority of the taxing bodies there did not have a problem with the B3 corridor. The village actually come out in favor of it, and they actually passed a resolution. I also met with the supervisor of Will Township and Township. Will Township passed a no-build resolution against it. They just flat out, we don't want it under any circumstance. And then the Township, they, contrary to what the paper said, they actually passed a resolution that suggested a alternate route. There's been a lot of discussion, and what I've been involved in too is the possibility of moving down to county line so that you could remedy the impact on the agricultural area and then dividing up farms, that type of stuff. Plus, you can utilize a part of an existing roadway so that it should make it somewhat more economical to use like such county line as a frontage road, that type of thing. We don't know how far that's going to go, but that's actually what's happening. And as Mr. Steinbeck alluded to, it is kind of odd, and I had brought this up at the intergovernmental agreement, that basically we're being told, trust us, if we build B3, we'll look at all the other problems. There's a lot of life safety issues right now, particularly for me. I would be on the south side of it. If something, God forbid, happened to me or my family member, there had to be an ambulance there, what's it going to add on to time? And minutes is life right now, as far as what an ambulance call. Fire calls, the same thing. Also, to get the agricultural equipment back and forth, that's all to be addressed. And again, and Jerry was there, he heard my statement on it, that basically it's like we're being told again, trust us. We're going to take care of all these issues in Tier 2. But again, I suggest that you apply all of your comments, whether you want it, or you don't want it, or whatever. I've talked to a couple of the other taxing bodies. They are not going to take any action on it. They're going to actually wait and see what comes, but they will work against the negative impacts on it. And as I think elected officials, as the board here, that is the majority of our job, is to actually address these life safety issues, the negative impacts, that type of stuff. That's where the rubber hits the road here. That's where we need to be diligent. We probably, in reality, we really don't have a say in where it's going to go. In my belief, it's being driven by economics. It's going to be a P3, a public-private partnership at this point in time. And basically, they're going to look at dollars and cents, when it gets down to the end. And again, the other taxing bodies, meeting with those, talking with those. I know John's here, trustee from the Village of Beecher, and I think you had a unanimous vote for the B3. And there is another inherent problem with the other ones to the north of us. Basically, they cut through a senior community. Basically, they would wipe out Pheasant Lakes Estate, which would be a travesty. Basically, you talk about devaluing a home at that point in time. Their life savings are into this, And the other problem that we have is the property lines along the agricultural community. That would be another travesty to cut some of these farms in half and create orphan pieces of property. And again, the expression was, trust us, we're going to actually look at all this. So, but I suggest that as elected officials that we're all diligent, along with the Planning Commission, and then we stay abreast of this. On the general assistance front, it appears to be, and Elizabeth is going to do a more extensive report. It appears to be some people are going back to work. They are finding jobs. The jobs are not paying actually what they made before, and especially around the time when the kids are starting to go to school. The free school system isn't free right now, so we have a problem then where they're actually there's a shortage of funding once they start registering their children to school, that type of thing. And that it's a tough situation, and we're doing what we can. And Elizabeth has some good news also too.
Yeah, I don't have a formal report, but I will go over some numbers. I do think the reason why we've seen the increase of residents come in is because they have gone back to school. But we've had about 8 families come in the month of August looking for assistance. That's just for general assistance. And I exhausted all of my Salvation Army funds, so I asked for additional funds. They did
actually, we've been utilizing Rich Township. They've allowed us, when they have their fresh fruits, that type of
Yeah.
stuff too. So, I mean, there's a lot of different areas. But my understanding too was some of the churches were, I believe their food pantries were depleting also at a rapid rate, so. One other thing too, you'll notice in the back here, we have another container for the electronic recycling. Very, very popular program. We're gonna lock that one though. We're just gonna put the hard drives in that particular one. We're working on the signage for it now. And also, someone graciously dumped some tires, about 8 tires by our recycling center. Fortunately, the county has a tire recycling day coming up in October, so I'll drop those off over there. But we're doing signage again there too, so. And we'll work on a surveillance camera. I know Jerry said that there was one in the back there. We'll put the signage up for that, so hopefully we can catch those perpetrators. So, any other questions for the supervisor? No? Okay, we can move on to the transportation report.
Evening. As everybody knows, Teresa's been volunteering in the transportation department and helping us out there because we'll talk about that, I believe, at next meeting. Wendy will be introduced as the Will County Mobility Manager. So we have one of our own that's going to fulfill this, and she'll do fine. So we're going to have a little cake and everything next month. So Teresa and Bob and myself attended the Illinois Public Transportation Association Conference in Champaign, and it was wonderful. A lot of networking. We were updated on all the transportation bills, and I'll be sending stuff out to you, asking you to send out emails of support for transportation. It includes paratransit. We were fortunate enough to get Rocky Donahue reelected on the board for Illinois Public Transportation. He is their marketing person with PACE and does a fine job with that, and who opened up the van pool to township government. So we're glad to have someone again voted in that position. We had some training classes that were really good, talking about customer service and going over to the new transportation scheduling software, that they thought it would decrease the calls of what time are you picking me up, and it's actually increased the call volume because the customers know that you could see the bus and exactly what their location is and how soon they'll arrive. So they're trying to figure that out to cut the volumes down. They are now going over to cell phones and the internet. The customer can log in with the new scheduling software, and this is PACE, CTA, RTA, see where the bus is, the train is, paratransits. So hopefully we'll get a grant to go over to the scheduling software, and everybody will be able to see our buses, highway, you'll just log right onto the computer. You would know where they are, so hopefully that's the next grant we'll receive in the upcoming year. But I want to thank Teresa. She's been doing a fine job. Today came in and the schedule was done. The drivers kind of looked at it and gave her the okay and said it was great. So, and I've had some calls over at Rich Township even, how pleasant she is, and Elizabeth and Wendy. And so that's kind of good to hear. When it's coming back to me and not a complaint. You have the ridership report, I believe, 565 riders, and next month Wendy will cover what her position is, mobility manager, what the county will entail, but it's with RTA grants and stuff, so we are moving forward. Any questions?
Thanks, Pat. Foundation for a Green Community?
Question for you is that tire issue that I brought up a while back,
Yes.
you were supposed to call them.
Yeah.
BP is saying he hasn't heard from you yet about that trailer.
I had talked to him once prior to, and then the cost was, it was relative to what the county's paying now, and And in the meantime, I had brought it up at the county level, and then now we're getting a tire trailer for at the county level, so.
Yeah, but then down in Joliet.
Yeah, but,
There's nothing out here.
well, it would cost us the money here, so, I mean, there's still a net cost to us, so. But that's something that we can talk about if we're willing to expend the funds for it. But we're looking for the most efficient way to get rid of the tires, so.
Yeah, I haven't heard, is the government involved in the one in Vietnam? Because we haven't got notified yet if we can take our tires to Vietnam, or, Vietnam,
I don't know.
Right, we're not included as what I read right now, I'm just curious.
The question was, is actually Dean Olson. I was in that committee there when we were discussing that. It is open for us.
Okay.
For that, but they don't want semi-tires. They don't want groups of people bringing in semi-tires. But I believe that they'll take care of us on it.
Okay, well, I wasn't notified yet, I just seen
Yeah,
that
yeah.
thing on the calendar.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, it should be on the internet too.
But it doesn't say government, usually that's where.
Yeah. Okay. Community building report?
Just real quickly, I'll convey to you what went on this evening, and some things you're gonna see. The community building is going to be putting in new windows on the building. I believe that's in the next couple months that they will be coming forth. The west staircase is going to be repaired enough so that it will be made more safe than it is now. And everybody understands it's a stopgap measure. The grant process is going forward to get, at some point, an ADA qualified elevator in that place, but it's still down the road. As everybody knows, that's a couple $100,000 to get that into place. So Debbie and Sally are working assiduously on getting the grant proposal going on that. And last but not least, I think we can finally report that the community building's financial situation is finally, once again, in a positive state. As you know, they had to borrow $60,000 back in 2009 to take care of the major rehab of the building. They still owe $25,000 on that note, but as we speak tonight, they've got $64,000 in the bank. It looks like they'll have a pretty healthy surplus by the end of the fiscal year, so they're out of the woods, at least in a fiscal sense.
Are they replacing the windows both on all levels?
I believe so, Dan. I know that Debbie just gave me, I know that they're expending about $6,000 is what's in the budget for the windows, so however many windows. Yeah. Dan? Yeah.
I don't, so married to her, don't mean she tells me anything.
Tell them how they
Well, I
pay.
leave it in their competent hands. I just looked at the number and they told me it was gonna be $6 grand for windows, and I figured that would do the trick, right? So,
How are they funding that then? Out of that?
out of their own funds.
Out of that 50,000 we gave them, or?
Well, actually, most of that was gone. As little, maybe even 12 to 14 months ago, they were down to about $5,000 in operating surplus in their bank account. And it's up now to about, well, it's $54,000 end of August, it's actually $64,000 today. So they'll be able to comfortably expend the funds out of their own operating account to take care of these capital projects without any further borrowing. So that's the really good news on that.
So
They still owe 25 grand on to the bank, but there's gonna be two $12,000 payments and then they're done. They'll be done with that in 2014.
I can't, 6,000, they're not replacing all the windows. That must be the lower level.
I didn't even know anything about it.
Yeah.
I'll
Because I
get
know-
back, Dan, I
well,
don't know,
the
she
only
just
thing I
told me,
asked
yeah,
is because the windows upstairs, just
Yeah.
from experience,
yeah.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
repair work for the surrounding of the windows and stuff too that needs to be done, so not for 6,000 or anything.
And they don't share details, and I don't ask details, they just say it's gonna be $6,000 in the budget, and I say, yes, that's fine, so, that they can afford to do, so. They can do it, and they may do it over 2 years. But the west staircase is also something that needs to be dealt with sooner rather than later, and that's in the immediate budget as well, so. And you'll see those things happening, so.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Tom. Peter, own report,
It's early.
very popular program.
Yes, it is.
General assistance report, I believe we covered that one already. We can move on to old business. Brass band concert, I have no report on that. Hopefully the snow won't be flying by the time that happens. Consideration and approval of township officials' compensation for terms beginning May 2013. Probably the least favorite of the things that we actually have to undertake, so. But I would suggest to the board, maybe we should bring this to a workshop type thing. Or if you're prepared to hash through it now. It's, you know.
Let's do workshop.
Okay.
I think
I'm
workshop.
prepared now.
You want to do it now?
Well, I'd like to get an idea of
Sure,
Yeah,
okay.
Okay.
how far out
Right.
we are from each other.
Should we put a
We're on the
timeline
same
on it?
page. Well, no, one of my thinking is, and this is just my own personal thinking, is there'd be no increases in salaries. And from going through and looking at the survey information, one of the concerns was the total compensation for road commissioner and that kind of thing. From looking through, we're actually below what most other townships have for their road commissioner in terms of their compensation for the comparable miles of road. So my recommendation would be, or my thinking is, we leave it all the same. There's no decrease, there's no change in insurances. What he does, or what the road commissioner does with their employees, that's not our concern.
Right.
How about establishing I'm along the same lines as you, I agree with the freeze. How about though we cap the health insurance? Because if it doubles or triples,
Oh, as far as an increase, that kind of thing?
yes. Because otherwise technically we're not agreeing to freezing anything because
We're still getting
that's
a higher,
fluid. Yeah.
a higher.
So,
I wouldn't have an issue with that, capping it.
but again, I
I
mean,
don't know what the cap would be. And that's the kind of thing I don't know what I don't remember what the guy told us last week at all, or last month, I didn't pay attention to much. After the first 20 minutes, I kind of lost track. But I'm just wondering if that's along the same thought lines that other ones are having, and if not, you can have a workshop so we can see all this stuff out.
I had spoke to 2 other townships today, and they're along the same lines. Basically, what's happening is that individuals are attending the meetings, and there is no talk of increases right now. With everything, the state of the economy, the way everything is, I mean, it's a very difficult thing now to increase somebody's salary. Now, on average, across Will County, I think the average income lost 9%. So, I mean, at the same time, and I hate to use that expression, but I think that we need to feel the pain also of this. I mean, you know, and also at the same time, people, their tax bills are going up, that type of thing, and their income is going down. And basically, there was an article in the Beecher Herald today, I was actually going to bring it, that was just talking about the elimination of townships, that they're not providing services, that type of thing. So, I mean, I think the general consensus right now is we need to be as fiscally conservative as we possibly can. So, you know, but I agree with you, Dan. Those were some great comments. And again, Jerry, this is not the individual. This is the office. You know, so, and I think at a workshop, I think, you know, maybe you know, we could actually it's a starting point right now. So.
Well, if you freeze salaries, then you're effectively we're looking 4 years ahead, you really decrease salaries.
Overall, that's
Yeah,
right.
in 4 years from now, we've got to look at what the situation would be. So if inflation is at 2%, 3%, then we're looking at a 10 to 12% reduction in wages, which seems to be consistent with our EVA, our loss of revenue. I just wish there was some way we could.
We could tie it in, and actually one of the other supervisor had suggested this, that you tie it into the consumer price index. I think they use the urban price index. So basically, if the economy does bounce back, then what would happen is say there's a 3% increase, then they would receive a 3% increase. At the same time, if it flatlined, there would be no increase. I mean, in all fairness, I mean, because again, for those in the township that depend entirely on the taxing body as their source of income, what that does is that entitles them, you know, to keep up with the prices, the price of milk and bread, et cetera. So, you know, that's where we're at. So, you know, I like I said, it's a very difficult thing here right now that you know, we're discussing, and at the same time, it's the easiest way for me to do it is actually I just picture the office being vacant, and then just, hey, if we had to hire someone tomorrow.
It's not the person, it's the
It's correct. So.
we're talking about insurance, life insurance, or health insurance, whatever. I missed the presentation of what's proposed, but,
You happen to be in London?
yeah, I was researching. And I'm wondering if we could do some kind of employee participation in the deductible or whatever, right? As it stands now, it's a zero deductible, I think, or what, close. What is it? 250, or whatever. I mean, look at that number to help control the cost, and certainly a cap, I think, would give me a lot of comfort, because you don't know, and it could skyrocket.
Well, that's one of the things I should have brought up with it. I didn't bring it from the last meeting. There were several different options, several different possible plans, and I don't remember now for sure, and I should have looked at it. Even with the increased premiums that they're looking at, most likely, which the thought material is going to be around probably 9-10%, the overall cost is going to be going down for the plan because of some of the things as far as the deductible and as far as some of the other coverages.
I guess
That's something we do need to look at then, I think. Most likely then a workshop is going to be best.
And I know it was painful to sit through those sales presentations, but I mean, we left with something on it. I mean, you know, actually we understood, you know, it's a lot easier discussing health insurance when you actually sat through two painful presentations. I mean, it was explained to us, and I think we're more educated when we get to the table on this, so.
So at this point, it sounds like we need a workshop. Just work out some of the health insurance kind of things that kind of stuff. So, do we want to set a date now?
Sure, we need to, right? Our timeline is
November 21st.
Yeah.
November 1st, we have one more meeting?
November 20th.
21st, we have two more meetings.
Two more meetings?
But in 2 weeks now, we're gonna have a meeting again, so I think probably
Why don't you hold a workshop before the meeting?
yes, we could do
Just
that.
earlier that,
We could just
and
do
everyone
that.
made it earlier that night.
Yeah,
Oh, that's what I do.
Do it at 6.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Does that work for you, Elmer? If we have it same night as our regular meeting, just have it at 6 o'clock?
Well, you won't be picking corn, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
More than likely.
Yeah.
If I'm not here, you just do it without me.
Okay, does that work for you, Joe?
That would definitely work better for me.
Okay.
All right, that sounds good.
So you're not gonna change the date and not tell me about it?
No? Not at all.
No.
Will you be?
Okay. Huh?
You're not going out of country, are you?
No, I'll be in the country.
Okay. All right.
So that's the October 1st, 6 o'clock?
Yeah, I'll get it.
Okay.
And I'll get the paper and on the website.
Yes, the next we have. Okay.
Okay. All right, new business. Consideration and approval of Washington Township Planning Commission recommendations, again, that word on. Ileana corridor discussion.
I may be wrong about this, but somewhere in the discussion or in the information that was disseminated about this whole Ileana corridor, was some kind of comment or some kind of statement that it's not splitting farms.
Well, the Farm Bureau has advocated that they stay down property lines. The only problem is if you have an L-shaped farm, somebody's gonna get split.
From experience, we don't have an L-shaped farm, and it pretty much splits the farm completely in half.
Okay.
That's why I'm like, when they said that, I'm like, oh, I don't think that's quite correct.
Did you attend the Peatone?
No.
Okay. At their workshops, they're very detailed on that 2,000 foot corridor. It's actually the inside line where the actual roadway is, that's the one that moves back and forth. So,
Okay.
Dan, I can't answer on your farm, I mean, you know, but that was the discussion. So, there's a lot of information on the internet. They've been very forthcoming on the information. And I covered it in the supervisor's report early. I try to attend all that they have. Now, the Indiana, I have not attended one yet in Indiana, and I know they're absolutely against it, especially where it's going through east of where I live. But again,
That's the B3 route?
the B3 route, yes. Now, the mayor to the north he actually is an advocate of the a special hybrid route. There's some inherent problems when you get out west on that one, is my understanding, is that the exchanges become more costly. The B3 route, there was a problem with Daywin, and what they propose to do on that is actually talk to the legislators in Washington and see if they can get a variance or something on that, because right now it's against the law, you cannot build anything in the Daywin. So I know there was discussions forthcoming on that, so. But again, I mean, it's up to the board. I mean, we could endorse it, we could say no, absolutely not, we could do a no build, we could endorse another route, we could take no action on it. And Jerry, you attended, what did you get, the feeling you got at the intergovernmental agreement meeting?
I have probably a different view on it. I mean, I look for it as just a township. I don't really care what happens in Indiana, and I don't really care what happens in Peatone. I look out because I'm elected by Washington Township. What it would do to my department would rip this thing apart. We would have to just a couple days of looking and thinking and planning snowplow routes. You would need a definite one, if not two more trucks, just to do plow routes. That means two more guys. Salting, I mean, everything is going to cost us money, and we will not get a dime of, well, we lose money because of the property coming out that they're taking. I know they talked about all the building that will come and everything. I had a point, the luxury of working in Peatone and along the 57 for 2 days, and to get from one place to the other in the township, you had to stop and think not how do you get there closest, which was the shortest way out of your way. Do you go 2 miles this way, 1 mile this way, and a mile and a half back, or do you go 2 miles, and that was really, kind of opened my eyes on it. And that's the way I took it, as my views was that I'm looking out for the Washington Township Highway Department, and it's gonna cost us quite a bit of money. And, with building it will come, they told that to Peatone with 57. That was gonna be their big windfall. 57 went in, I was told 48 years ago or something like that. And right now Peatone has only that they could, and there might be some hidden stuff, but McDonald's and a Shell station and a Taco Bell stuff. I mean, the selling point of it will come and we will get all this growth when we get the hotels, I don't see it right now. Maybe 20 years down, 40 years down the road. But in the meantime, we have to come up and serve both sides of that road. I would sure like to have more planning in what they guarantee us every road closure will have a hearing. What is the hearing? Do we have any input? Do we have any, traffic counts? I've been watching traffic counts. I know they've been doing them throughout the township. Wish we could get our hands on the townspeople can't. Will County doesn't even know when they're doing these traffic counts. I talked to Bruce Gould, and he had no idea what's going on with them. Figure it's for the yeah, it was county, and you've seen them on our roads. I think they went as far as Eagle Lake Road. There was sensors. They done them 2 days and 3 weeks apart from each other. Where they were on there for 24 hours and they were taking traffic counts. I've seen some of them on the web page, but I didn't see all of them. I mean, that would be a big concern of ours, and I think that's where we have to, my department, I'm not talking your department, they have to take a stand. It's really gonna hurt this township. Before it gets better, we're gonna have to see a lot of negative on it, and who's gonna pay the cost of, I can't go out and buy 2 new snowplows, I would love to, but I don't have the money to do that. And that's just to maintain what we have now, that's not getting anything. Let alone how many dead-end roads we have, how many, frontage roads, we're gonna end up with frontage roads, so that's extra mileage to us.
Well, I think you pointed out earlier, Bob, some of the concerns as far as underpasses or the bypasses or that kind of thing. It's not only what's it called? Like fire and ambulance and that kind of thing. But even for the farmers themselves, they're going to have to drive an extra 3-5 miles in order to go through. to get a different property and stuff. And none of that's clear. There's nothing set up at all. And to be honest, in my opinion, I have not been convinced that there's a need for this, an expressway.
It's not only that, but it's also the safety of the people, because all this machinery is getting bigger all the time. And when you're traveling down the road, I would like to take all of you with me as I go down the road sometimes and see how these people drive. They think you're going to pull off. There's a culvert there, or there's a mailbox. You can't pull off. Or the ditch is too deep there. I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
I did, as I always mention, I did send my stuff in on the deadline, whatever the deadline was, on one page of my concerns, and so we got publicly noted on my concerns with the snow, and, I mean, that's a big issue for me, and even just maintenance, just to get around this township, it's gonna, I got conflicting reports. One meeting went to, said there was absolutely no overpass or underpass, and the nights at round table, it sounded like that one was, there's more possibility, you haven't outruled them all yet. But, oh well, what kind of was.
I thought there was a deadline for having this.
The 29th of August, but they will take,
And
they will continue to take. And you're going to, with the secondary tier 2, it's going to all start all over again too.
so.
Because they're trying to identify a specific corridor so they can drill down into it, is what we're told.
So all the resolutions passed today, township, city, whatever, where are they going? For whose benefit? I mean, is it going to a central referendum plate, or, I mean, who are we sending this message to?
IDOT, but IDOT turns around, they still look at the dollars and cents, and they still look at the impact of it. And what they were saying was the B3 was their least impacts, that type of thing. But again, the way they have to explain this is, it's like, basically it's like, we'll look at all these things, just trust us after we determine what route.
And Bob, you've been to more of those meetings, you've been well more. One of my understandings was there's not even funds for this project right now.
Correct.
Looking at privatizing it, which means it'd be a toll.
Correct. What they have to do is they have to identify, this is what was explained to us. They have to identify a specific route, and they can put an actual dollar amount on it. Then they have to go out and get the investors that are actually going to purchase it. And in the meantime, the conduit is the IDOT. And also, I believe the feds are actually involved in this too. Now, what's going to happen is once they actually say, okay, this is the route, this is the actual dollar amount, and we have our end financing, and that's why they want a quick take in it, so that if they got within 1 year of building, and they had the money sitting there to build it, then they said, okay, we can utilize quick take. But they would utilize eminent domain, and willing seller, eminent domain, and go through the chain. But that's why they explained that they have quick take, which we were adamantly against, quick take.
But that's why I got a better taste of quick take after that meeting, because they have to have total funding in hand before they can do quick take. So that kind of puts it, the ball back in their court, where they know the funding. They can't get two nickels of it together.
They don't want the airport scenario all over again, where they actually get partially into a project and then it stops.
So from what I'm hearing from the rest of the board, there's not a lot of support for this expressway from the board.
Well, I'm going to,
Well, that's why I
don't think anybody who lives in this township wants to see this happen. But somebody somewhere decided they're going to put a major expressway through our township. And it's not our, and I don't think there's anything we can do about it. And, or if there is, I would like to be at that table with a voice to be able to let us be heard. And I'd love to build a fence around Washington Township and say nobody can come or leave unless we say it's okay, and that's not going to happen.
We don't have the funds for that.
And so Jim, your no idea is that kind of puts us in a corner, I think. We
Do
should
you
work
think
this,
so?
no.
How much power do you have now?
Well,
You can't even get an answer from them on
you're right.
where Crossroads is.
It might not even be, who are we talking to? I mean, maybe no one's listening to our voice, but if they are or will, then I think we'd be in a better position to be able to negotiate for the underpass as an example. I think it's a travesty that I cannot drive to I can't go to your house from my house. I gotta go buy gas to get there. That's not good for our township. So we need to be in a position to be able to negotiate that or have our voice heard. And the fire, the snow, whatever. The farmer issue, it's terrible. I can't imagine trying to, what are you gonna do with 20 acres on the other side of the expressway for 40 or 60? It doesn't work. But so rather than just stick our head in the sand and say no, we need to be proactive and say maybe yes, or we want this, or we want that, or I want part of the decision-making process. I mean, we got, because they're just going to run right over us, one way or the other. And we have a chance, maybe, if IDOT wants to listen, that our input could be considered. So, and there are people, even in our township, people have asked me when it's going to be built. They can't wait to get these trucks off our road. I have a job opportunity out in Lockport. I want to get out there quick. There are people that want to see this. I certainly don't, but nobody's asking me. So I think we need to be proactive, and I agree with you, Dan, that if we...
Well, we've had that kind of thing before, that we don't support the initial building to begin with, but in the event that is built,
right,
we expect to have a...
Yeah, that was our conclusion with the airport.
We'd like to have a
But-
seat.
But if, and I see where you're coming, but if you don't give your voice to your concerns right now, and you're gonna wait to see where it's gonna go, you have to be in the line. That's why I sent my letter with my concerns and my thoughts, is so you, at least, you're in the starting place. You have some paper there saying, these are our concerns. If you don't say nothing, and we'll see what happens later, well, that's telling them you don't have any concerns.
I agree. I think we should say something. The question
I mean, that's what that's what my thing was, is I look out for my department, what's affecting my department, not what happened, what affects Jerry Meyer.
Right.
I mean, I could have a totally different view, but I had to look at what happens in my department, the Washington Township Highway Department. How is it gonna affect them?
Sure.
How is it gonna affect you guys? It's a lot different for you guys than it is, well, not really, because you have transportation now, so that's gonna be a big issue. But, I mean, it's just, there's some concerns, and you should get them down, not, in the ninth inning, come back and say, well, now these are our concerns, when you should have been in the ballgame, from the first, and these are my concerns to start with, and you can always go back, well, these were my concerns in the first inning, and these are my concerns in the second inning, and these are my concerns in the third inning. I mean, you can change your game plan on the way up, but you have to not do anything, to me, is not an option. I mean, that's the way I took it as my department, and that's my 2 cents worth.
Well, and again, I've attended quite a few of the meetings there, and then when you tell them their concerns, they actually write it down. And from the very beginning, it's the life safety issue that is the big problem. And I have to agree with Ted in the sense that it's a lot bigger picture. Somebody else decided where this thing's gonna go. And now we're watching it play out. It's like acts of a play, because you have someone to the north that wants it moved back up there. It was decided that it was gonna be B3 at one time. And then in the meantime, if you talk to Mayor Ullman, that type of stuff, they'll explain it to you. But, at the same time, the concerns were brought up again at the intergovernmental meeting about the life safety, and they said that there'll be a time and place when they will be addressed until they actually determine the actual route of it. The thing that we have to say, and I think that is, to be honest with you, we can say we want B3, A S2, 3, C, whatever it might be, but in reality, it's selected. I mean, that's, that's my personal feeling on it from attending the meeting, so. Go ahead, Mike.
Can I interject?
Oh, absolutely.
Since I'm not on board,
Yeah.
but, well, number one, part of the, I was part of the GCM way back when, Jerry was there with us. Federal Highway's funny. Those should be the people we were talking to. Number two, elaborate on Jerry. Jerry gave his concerns. Why don't you set up a committee within Washington County?
We do, the planning, I already spoke to Mike Stanula
And then you
about
put
it,
it,
and
have
then,
Jerry part of it,
okay.
and determine roadways that can be closed, roadways that shouldn't be closed.
Yeah.
And Elmer involved in it, because he's a farmer, he speaks for the agricultural
Yeah.
committee, concerns out here. This, it will hurt us badly, this will have less of an impact.
Well, along that line, I have no problem with passing the resolution that says we are, you know,
Yeah, but we're telling them
Well,
what's wrong,
no,
they can give them some
we-
suggestions of what to make it right. They can-
correct, but we identify all of the problems, particular problems.
Right.
At the same time, and Jerry, we can put in there the highway, road and bridge supports a no-build option for this. We can put that right in the resolution.
I mean, like I say,
I mean, if that's what Jerry wants us to do, we can do that. I see no problem with that. I mean-
I've set mine with, in motion, they have it, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, we can craft that up. I mean, we got an excellent crafter right here sitting
Well, my
next to me.
point
right on the
being,
side table. So,
Ted was saying that we really shouldn't put ourselves in a corner, and I agree with him. I lived in Riverdale and South Alabama. I moved out here when I got married because where I wanted to raise my family. I like the country, I love the country, I hate asphalt and concrete. But I do realize, I see what happens from the city of Chicago through my years. Everything is building up down here. Pretty soon it's gonna be asphalt and concrete. You need to plan ahead. Just like you did with the bike and equestrian trail. You've got to plan ahead. This is gonna happen, the government will listen to you more if you give your concerns, and you give them solutions to your concerns.
which we have been, all the meetings, Mike, that have been going on, that's what they actually are looking for. Is they'll sit there, they actually have the land, the people that acquire the land for them, that type of stuff like that. But again, and it was explained over and over and over to us again at the intergovernmental meeting, was that until they identify that specific route, then they can actually go to the tier 2. Now, I don't like that. I think, you know, to me, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth, you know, whatever. It's just, trust me. But at the same time, we can say, okay, we absolutely don't want it, which might take us away from the table at the end. In the meantime, my comments to them were over and over and over again was, let's determine where, as far as the mitigation, what's going to be the mitigation on it, whether it's going to be berms, you know, soft barriers, hard barriers, that type of stuff. Because all up and down 294 now, it's the toll road, which I travel, it's all barriers. Everything is barriers now. But if I think, as I mentioned earlier, it's us as elected officials at this local level that cannot decide whether it comes or it doesn't come. But we can protect our residents in our township and get whatever mitigation that they're entitled to. All the entitlements that they get, that they're entitled to, we should be advocates for that. We should be out there front and center all the time. And whether it's Elmer getting a combine through an underpass, that's what we have to identify. And that's what we gotta keep pounding on them over and over and over again. So, I mean, that's, you know.
And with FHA, Federal Highway, they want the second provision vehicles separate from the cost. That's where your fatal accidents are. That's where all your time is spent in traffic jams. And they figure per minute how much money is lost throughout the country. So, you need to give them the answers to your concerns.
Yeah, go ahead.
Add a couple things. I would guess there would be procedures in place when it comes time for these meetings, public hearings to decide on what's gonna be open, what's gonna be closed. So I really don't see where saying no build would affect you, because they're still gonna have to go through this and you're still gonna be there. The other thing, after working in Peatone Township for a couple days, I urge every one of you to go, and I can't think of the name of the road. Corning Road is the first road north of Peatone, and it merges with Joliet Road or North Peatone Road. Right before that merge, there's a crossroad. Make a right, it's a dead end. There's two houses over there. I guarantee you, if you were over there, you would not be able to hold this meeting because of the noise. And that's in excess of a quarter mile away from this. So, I mean, Bob, you'll be, if it's on the north side of Highline, that's like 3/4 of a mile. You're still gonna hear it.
Oh, yeah,
You will not be
absolutely.
able to sleep with your windows open. unbelievable, and without ever working out there, I would have never would have believed it.
Hey, Jonathan, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
In your resolution that the city passed, did you address access like we're talking about fire? I read it, I don't remember. It was more like, yeah, we want B, everybody was deciding on.
Whereas.
Yeah, but it was all A3 versus B3, right?
It was that we support, as it sits, the B3 route out of the options that are out there. Now, another thing, and I'll go ahead and say it, you know, as a township board, you guys also represent village residents. There was a resident survey, which gave us, and now I realize you're not just representing, you know, residents of the village. You also represent other residents. But it was pretty resounding results on our fall survey that the village residents are in favor of this and in favor of the possible economic development that can follow, especially if that can get annexed into the village. So there are some, you know, other things to consider. Like I said, you have a copy of what the village board passed. The village board passed it on the 6th of August.
Yeah, this is pretty much A3 versus B3. And, okay, so you picked a route, which is.
There was also an option that passed of a
Right.
no build.
Well,
This is that is the option that we chose as a board.
But, and we're more of the grassroots level here. We're seeing problems with tractors and snowplows and
We do,
access.
and like Bob said, and I hated to hear it, and Jerry heard it, and I don't think anybody that was there at that intergovernmental meeting liked to hear it, and I heard it over and over at the Piatone ones, and when I went to the ones in Matson, the meetings on this, is that and it does make sense when you think about it. The feasibility and the cost of them looking into what they can open and close and roadways, overpasses and all that, at this phase of it, your cost would be just through the roof. You'd never be able to go a road if you start looking at all that in tier 1. And I understand what, you know, Bob's saying and what everyone else has said. I mean, we hate to hear that, but, you know, me personally, I kind of understand that you can't address every single issue right there in tier 1. It has to be you know, you have to take steps in this process. So,
And I had quite a few lengthy discussions with some of the trustees of the village. The village's concerns are, you know, E3 will not affect the village 100% of any of their operation right now. I mean, it's not in their backyard.
They're right.
So, I mean, and that's a different attitude. Yes, we're part of the village, you know, and that's where it's, you have to think of both sides. I mean, we had lengthy discussions on that, you know, why did the village want that one? Well, one of it's because it's the village to the north and annexation, and if it goes to the north, they won't get anything, and then there would be nothing out of it. I mean, it's different concerns. I mean, you know, they don't have one road that's blocked off from, you know, this goes through as of now. I mean,
we have a lot of other issues, though, Jerry,
well,
which we brought up, you know,
but
bypass and stuff like that.
I'm looking at operational. I mean, that's what
And I'm sure that's why, you know, in that survey, a lot of the village residents
well, right, it's not
who are absolutely in favor of it, is they look at that economic development and what it can bring to the school district tax dollar wise, what it can bring to the village, the tax dollars that it can bring to the highway commission, to the township, and so forth. But that was one of the main reasons why that survey was done, is to get the input, you know, of the residents, and I think that's kind of how all the
And I
trustees
think
felt, as though we wanted to represent.
That was said in the paper too. You had a scientific reason for doing this. I remember that word. They actually put that right in there. So
It was, we did the survey. And
The survey, yeah.
That's what the residents said they wanted to see, so,
you know, but
the residents were.
But if the survey was done of Washington Township residents, it'd be absolutely the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's easy to say yes, but
But, you know, and that's why I said, that is definitely, Elmer, I understand, that's definitely a trick bag you guys are in. You represent both. As a village trustee and a village board, and, you know, Piatone's gone through the same thing. Piatone went out and supported a resolution for it as a village, and their township went ahead and supported one against it. And
they didn't.
Yeah,
Clarification.
Yes.
Dave can, because I was sitting there. And I
Yeah,
go, you guys, can I get a copy of your resolution against it? He goes, We didn't pass a resolution
Yes.
against it. We just wanted it moved over, because it wipes out their Peatone Township
Yeah.
garage.
But, you
The
know, like I
current
said,
route.
and I understand, that's the trick that
Yeah.
you guys are in,
And
that
it's-
you represent both. You represent the village
Yeah.
residents and the residents of Washington Township that are not within the village.
And it's a no-win. I mean, you can go to a village meeting and talk to everybody, and they're like, oh, yeah, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, you know, and then, so I mean, what do we wanna do, though?
Well, can we do a resolution that supports responsible construction or consideration of local issues or, you know, something that specifically addresses from day one our concerns that we're gonna have, irregardless where it's built, if it's built, if it's not built, whatever, but be on paper saying, this is, here's our concern. We resolve that we don't wanna be landlocked, we don't wanna have, inoperable snow routes, et cetera. I mean, is that, and then, do we have time
And
to do?
again, we can put in there, and I wanna see it in there for Jerry and the highway, that they support a no-build option. That should be in the resolution. That way, we can address the issues, and then we can put that in for Jerry. And then, Jim, I mean, you're gonna get the best of both worlds here. We're addressing the problems, and you get your no-build in there.
Personally, I'd be for no bill due to lack of information.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
basically,
in fact, and Jerry was there also, that question was asked, everybody asked me, they said, well, Bob, what do you think about it? I said, I'm not gonna give you a decision on it until I actually see the actual route that you select and all the specific impacts that it has. And everybody says, well, you're not giving us an answer. I said, that is my answer. You know, I'd like to see, you know, the actual plans of it, you know? Show me what roads it's gonna, you know, cut. Show me what farms it's gonna go through, you know, whatever, and they can't do that right now, you know, and it's unfortunate. You know, and then like I said, the school district, they seem that think that it's gonna help with the EAV, you know, and bring it up or whatever, and I mean, everybody had a different view of it at that time. You know, personally, do I want it by my house? No. Do I think I can stop it? No. Do I think I can actually get some kind of mitigation out of it for the residents around? Yes. You know, so I mean, that's, you know, and then I know Mr. Goldrick, I mean, he's gonna be, what, 200 feet from it on the one side. So, anyway.
Why couldn't we support a resolution that we can't support a route that runs through Washington Township, but if it does run through Washington Township, we expect to be included in the entire process?
Yeah.
What I have written down, sort of like that, is we do not support a resolution for a no build of an actual Ilion Expressway. In the event a route is determined within Washington Township, we request to have input and impact on the planning and design of the route as it affects the residents of Washington Township. I know request is not the right word, but I don't know what the type real word should be.
Well,
It's not request, it's more like.
we have an attorney here. I'm not writing this resolution. No.
It's a lot cheaper if you write it, Joe.
Say no, no one at all. In reality.
But you have to take yourself, you know, it's like, you have to take yourself away as a person, but what it affects the township, how it affects all
If
of
we want
us.
to put specific issues in there, we can add the specific issues as far as health and safety concerns, all that kind of stuff.
And actually, the Township Planning Commission did one along the lines for the airport for us.
So that would,
Yeah.
so I remember
Yeah.
the same kind of thing that, and I don't want to sound useless here, but we can say no all we want. Doesn't make a whole big impact.
This is federal.
But we also want to make sure they understand
Correct,
that.
we're at the table.
And I don't know what the right wording is, but I agree with that.
But if everybody took, you know, they don't say no, I mean, your voice does
No, I
count
think we
somewhat.
need to say
I mean, I
no.
really do think our voice counts somewhat. It's just a matter of.
They'll have to go to Kankakee County.
criminal
Support it all day long.
That's right. What about those poor people?
Yeah.
You should tag on the airport and
Well, we have a resolution, we can dig that one up, though.
Are you doing or anything?
And I talked to Mike Snilla about it already. I said, you know, Mike, you know, you guys want to take a look at this, and he said he would, so I assumed he might have called you guys.
I mean, that's.
Because I think it should come out of our planning commission.
That's another
I really do.
discussion for another day, but have you looked on the Will County website? I was blown away. Right, the
$1 million.
Who it is?
Careful.
Oh.
They didn't close on it yet until they get funding in November when they get more tax money.
But they took 6 plans to the FAA and all they're waiting for is the record of decision. So if you all think it's not covered, this is the fast track in that area.
So for tonight, what should we do?
It is general consensus that no matter what, we want to have impact or input.
How about if we refer it to the planning commission?
Come up with
Yeah, they did a great job on the other ones.
so you guys can write up actually.
Yeah, we just take out airport and put Ileana.
Yeah, now, along those lines too, though, with the Ileana, is, it's secured now even south of town as far as our bike trail. They're making provisions for that.
Okay.
So there's multiple provisions. So we did a great thing when we actually got it here in the beginning, and it actually carried through. So I got to commend the board on that. I mean, that was forward thinking there, so.
Don't you think, though, that if you would have said when you was going for the bike trail to make one big enough to use for other things, that it would have helped a lot more people?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Especially if we do farm equipment to it. Yeah, well, we said multi-purpose trail, Elmer.
It wasn't like, it was multi,
But walking or a bike trail.
So is that, we're referring it to the
Yeah,
planning commission?
refer to planning commission.
Well, the planning commission has to make it clear, though, that we are not in favor of it.
All right.
If it comes, and then it's another thing, but we are not in favor of it originally.
I recommend that they work with Jeff, right?
Yeah.
With Jeff, yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
They need to work
thanks,
with Jeff.
Elmer. You got that, Mike, right? Elmer wants something?
Okay.
All right. Okay. That could go on forever and ever, that Ileana discussion. So, next item is accepting a resignation and declaration of trustee vacancy. Lisa, you have the floor.
Okay, I would, at this time, an opportunity has come within the township for a permanent job that has been presented that I would like to pursue. Since there is a possibility of a conflict of interest with me as a Washington Township trustee, it is necessary that I submit my resignation. My interests have always been the residents of Washington Township, and I believe that this position would bring me much closer to that interest.
Thank you.
Accept it?
We need a motion to accept it. Is there a motion to accept Teresa's resignation?
Yeah.
At the end of the meeting, at what time? 12 o'clock midnight tonight, or?
Yeah.
You have to have 30 minutes. Okay,
It would-
midnight.
Midnight tonight.
Well,
No, it could be right immediate.
yeah, I think immediate, if you're gonna,
Yeah, it's immediate. Do we have a second on it?
No, so I have some questions first.
Oh,
Oh, who made the motion?
I don't want to make a motion.
Oh, there's been no motion. Okay.
So if it's immediate, then she has no voting no for the rest of the meeting.
correct. We'll seat the new trustee immediately.
I would think it would make more sense to have it at the conclusion of this meeting.
sure. I'd second that. Why not?
So you set the resignation at the conclusion of this meeting.
Is that? All right,
So
we'll postpone items 3 and 4. Well, we're at the end, though, of new business. All we got is consideration approval of tax levy. Are we gonna pay bills then?
Well, no, what I'm saying is that she'll still be on as a board member through the conclusion of this meeting. At the conclusion of this meeting is when she officially resigns.
No, it would be immediate,
Why?
because that's the way it goes, it's immediate.
yeah, typically, I would recommend that you, and I don't know what the letter says, I haven't seen it.
There's no
She
time.
read it,
date
yeah,
in the
she
letter
read it.
As far as
That's
when
the whole
it's.
letter.
Yeah.
In municipal law, they've got provisions that say you can do it at specified times and certain dates, certain or whatnot. But I think it's typically something like this, when you're being asked on to accept the resignation, it would be something of, that's, the motion is the resignation, once you accept it, it is effective immediately.
Okay. Motion to accept the resignation immediately.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? No discussion, proceed to vote?
Dan?
Yes.
Ted?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Elmer? Teresa?
Does Teresa vote in that one?
No.
No? Why can't she vote? She's still a board member.
No, she resigned already.
No, she resigned, we accepted it. Okay, item number 4,
I disagree.
appointment to fill trustee vacancy. I'd like to make a motion to nominate Pat Peters to fill the remainder of the term due to the vacancy created by the resignation of trustee Peterson. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Okay, any discussion?
I would like to suggest that we postpone the appointment. The reason I'm saying, some other people in the community, Mike Mack being one, other people I've heard of are interested in filling this position. And I think it'd be fair to the voters of the community to allow other people to come forth if they're interested in filling this position. And we could examine what's available in the public. And certainly no reflection on anybody here, but I think
It's only 2 weeks till the next meeting.
right. And I think it's a wonderful position to be in, to have several people looking, or 3 or 4, to sit on this board. There was a time when you couldn't get a dead skunk to sit on this board. So now we're in a great position. What's the rush? 2 weeks' time, we could have, I don't know, some forum, some fashion, some way to hear the people talk, and then we as a board all agree on what's available and make our selection at that time.
Well, I'd like to bring something to the board here also too, is that basically we're in the midst right now of applying for a grant process for the next 3 years. This is very critical that we actually proceed forward in a expedient manner, because what we could do is jeopardize any kind of funding for the future. I mean, and we have a situation now too where the demographics of it, we have the only woman trustee on the board who's actually resigned. And now I think it's only respectful to the residents of Washington Township that we fulfill this with another woman. Now, who would be more qualified than Pat Peters, who's brought in over $500,000 over the past 3 to 4 years, been instrumental in that, besides Pat Peters. And in the meantime, we actually had a trustee that took 2 weeks of her life, volunteered, and actually saved the township money, and actually ran transportation out of there. Transportation runs tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, the buses, the wheels are turning. And I don't think that we should be sidetracked with this other, as far as stopping now and say, okay, we're going to open this all up, we're going to look for somebody else, we're going to select somebody, that type of stuff there. Not only is it disrespectful to Pat Peters, at the same time, I think it's not we're not providing due diligence to the residents and the taxpayers of Washington Township. And I've been involved in transportation in the beginning here, as the board has. And this is one of our most positive contributions that we've actually brought to the township. We actually, Tom and I were looking at it today, we have $269,000 in the bank right now. That's not even including the transportation. Transportation fund, we have almost $60,000 in there? $74,000. We're actually funding this, not with taxpayer dollars. And I think that this is just, it would be a mistake on our part to actually wait. Pat Peters actually stepped up to the plate. Teresa actually stepped up to the plate. And this, I think, is the proper thing to do. And I think anything else could be considered a motive to actually slow down transportation. I attend the meetings at RTA with PACE. with Area on Aging. We actually have a scheduled meeting with Area on Aging where we gotta meet with them again. I mean, Ted, this is where we're at today. And this, the ironic thing about this is, we don't know who's going to be the next trustees and the next supervisor, next highway commissioner, assessor, in the next election cycle, but we're securing money for the future. Whether they decide, the future boards decide to use it or not, the money is there. So this is an issue of actually money. And everybody wants to see their property taxes lowered. We're actually on our way to actually do that right now. So, I mean, you know, I said my piece on it, but.
I disagree with you because this is not a examination of Pat Peters and her contribution to this township. It's been wonderful. And what I'm saying is that there maybe Michelle Obama wants to come and be on our township. How do you know that? There's people, I'm just saying, there may be somebody in our township that wants to come in here, and we owe it to the people of this township, and to hear if they're interested, to say yes. And I would suspect that nobody's gonna be better than Pat, and maybe Mike someone better than Mike. But why not give the people of this township an opportunity to step forth and be on our board? It's not a question of you're telling me the transportation department's gonna stop in 2 weeks because Pat's not on the board? She's not been on the board for the last 7 years, and it's moves forward. So I don't wanna combine the issues. They're separate.
It's not separate.
It's a vacancy. That's all it is. And we need to take it to the people, and in 2 weeks, everything is back on track.
But
And
if it's to the people now, I don't understand why you want to take it to the
But,
people now.
well, let's hold on here. The issue right now, and what I am telling you right now, and I am involved in the grant process, all right? I have not seen you at any of the other meetings as far as the grants. I have not seen you at Area on Aging, at PACE, at RTA. I have not seen you there. I have been there with Pat. Pat and I have to go downtown repeatedly or whatever. When she walks in there and she says, okay, I'm actually a trustee, I represent the Washington Township as a trustee, that benefits our township. At the end of the day, it's all about providing the best services that we can possibly provide to our township.
So
At the least amount of cost, or whatever. Now, we could prolong this for another 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, then we can go through the discussion again at the end of the 2 weeks. We can try to set up a vetting process when it's almost impossible for us even to get together for a meeting, you know, as far as pull everybody together. So, I mean, I see with no problem, and I see this as a proper thing to do. And I'm gonna call this for a vote.
Can I have 1 second?
Oh,
please?
absolutely.
Is Pat now receiving a compensation from the?
No, she will resign effective immediately as Director of Transportation. She's gonna resume that role at an unpaid. She'll be a trustee. She'll be an actual active trustee, assuming the role of a transportation director. So, I mean, it saves us money, so. I like to call the question.
Do I have to get input in this?
No. We'll do a roll call?
Discussion's ended.
Call the question.
Other questions, go back to vote.
Who's, Bob?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Ted?
Abstain. No.
Elmer?
I abstain,
You abstain?
yes.
So we have 2 yeses?
This is the one situation where the court gets the vote.
Abstain isn't abstain in favor of the majority in this case?
It could be considered, but
That's 2 votes, isn't it?
two votes what?
If he gets to vote again?
No.
No, the clerk.
The clerk.
Oh,
Clerk
Ted,
gets to
Ted, did you vote no or abstain?
Abstain.
Abstain. Elmer, you were abstain as well, right? Is it my vote, Jeff?
I think there's an argument that the abstains would go with the majority, but I would still have your vote for the clerk.
I vote yes.
Okay, it's done. Congratulations.
Thank you. You did made the right choice at the right time. The right person.
But before, I'd like to say something here. Teresa, to me, is special. She's the one that I would always ask a question of, and Teresa, as well as the other trustees, but Teresa always gave me a honest answer. And Teresa was very forthcoming. She's going to be sorely missed on the board here, and best wishes to her. I mean, she's a great person, and I'd like to acknowledge her right now.
Good judge of character.
You okay on this? You all right?
I just have to, when I get up, I gotta, it's a slow bit process.
I don't think Dan wanted to accept your resignation.
None of us did. None of us wanted to make the motion. So we seek to.
So the process now would be to execute the warrant that the clerk has prepared that everybody needs to sign. And then that's filed with the township clerk, and then it will also eventually be filed with the county.
Okay, do we finish the rest of the meeting?
Now, she will actually, once she takes the oath and signs the warrant, then she can actually assume the seat. And I just, for the record, wanted to confirm what my belief was, that the township code does say the resignation becomes effective upon acceptance by the township board. So my memory was correct, it is immediate.
You did it before.
Pardon?
You did these before.
Yeah.
Do I read my resignation letter?
I think you just turn it into the
No,
floor.
I think it's just gonna.
Pat, Patricia?
Yes.
Patricia.
Someday I'm gonna abstain. Someday I'm gonna abstain. Someday I'm gonna go along with
Jeff, Jeff, all trustees sign it, or just the one that voted for? All trustees have to sign it.
What if I don't accept?
She's
You haven't done
transportation.
it, do you?
And the hiring policies, according to state transportation, is hired by Bob.
Okay, that's why I wanted to make sure, because since it's not written, I wanted to make
Is
sure.
there an objection?
No, but I wanted to make sure we had.
Yeah.
That's correct.
We have a policy, we
Yeah.
just follow it.
Yeah, I know, I'm.
Oh, if there's an objection, you give me.
Yeah, you'll need to sign it after you do the oath of law.
I think, Dan signs it, right?
I signed a different name, so I.
Gotta get a new name change. Gotta get a new name.
Yeah.
Who does those?
Pat, you want to step forward?
Yes.
If you just raise your right hand and just read this out loud for us, that'd be great.
I, Patricia Peters, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Washington Township trustee to the best of my ability.
Thank you. Congratulations.
I signed your real name.
Matthew, right. I'll give you a copy of that for me.
The tax levy, you're not gonna look on it.
I'm getting it on the, on the,
It's January.
tax file.
Next to you.
He's lucky.
Okay, next item of business, consideration and approval of 2012 tax levy, and I This is just for consideration.
Yeah, I just wanted to get it on the agenda to get people thinking about it.
Okay, at the intergovernmental meeting, I know the village was, or the mayor was looking at possibly a 0% tax levy, and he was trying to get a commitment from the other taxing bodies. There really was no response on it, so.
Have you done that worksheet and stuff, or you don't?
No, I haven't.
What do you think? Any guess?
No, because I'm gonna get the information from Carol with the $10 million deduction in EAV.
It's still at about 169 million. It looks pretty good right now. I don't think we're gonna have a lot of appeals this year. Got 3 commercial ones coming down. And that's where we'll have our biggest loss, is the 3 commercial. If, possibility of a loss, with the commercial. As far as residential appeals, I really think there's not going to be but 3, the way it looks right now, which is going to be minimum dollars, very, very minimum dollars, very minimum. The commercial, I don't know. The attorney was supposed to send me via email the appraisals of those 3 commercial properties 2 days ago. I was in my office tonight before the meeting. I still didn't have them. So I don't think I think we're going to stay right around 169.
So at this point, we're gonna table this until.
Yeah, well, I don't think I'll have it ready in October.
Yeah,
2 weeks. No, sorry.
Okay, we can move on to payment of bills. You want to do town account or road and bridge? How about road and bridge?
Road,
Okay.
One thing with the road and bridge, just like I know we're working on getting new pumps for the stuff. We have an outstanding bill of $7,000, was turned in February, still isn't paid. We've got some more documentations me and Tom are working on. If we could get that, if we owe the money, we'd like to get paid so we can buy the pumps.
That's only through the road and bridge, correct?
Well, we have 2 issues. The road and bridge one we'll have resolved by tomorrow. Jerry gave me the last invoices, and I'm going to compare it to our disbursements, and if the discrepancies are indeed as he said, I'll bring it to you, and we'll cut the checks and get it.
Okay, that was the one where they negated to bill us?
Well, no,
There's a missing month in there, among other things.
there's 1 month we didn't pay. One was, Joe and I
When
looked
they
at.
did the audit of the fuel
Right.
system,
Right.
there,
Yes,
we
they
missed
went
the payment.
back
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everyone had a little bit of issues. One was my fault, gave you the wrong bill, you gave you the bus bill.
Oh, okay.
And we owed that one, so there was a difference in there. Some was, one of them we paid gallons instead of
A dollar
right,
amount.
the dollar amount. And that's what it is, and it's just like, we had to come up with half down in our target date, and we want to keep this on target since we owe the most of it is, what's coming up, Columbus Day? What's it called? The school, yeah, Columbus Day. The school district will be closed, and then we're gonna down them tanks.
Okay.
But transportation, everyone know that we're filling one day, and they're gonna be down one, and they said one day we should have them back up. Maybe not computerized, but we could fill. And then the following day, come in and get all the.
The new system, they go to that, like, what do they call them things?
It's fobs.
Fobs, okay.
It's just a different type of card.
They'll just wave it on there.
Right.
Correct.
So the big thing with that, I just wanted, I know that, I looked at it, Joe looked at it a couple months ago, we kind of come up on it, but I found out where the mistakes were, and we got it was Bill paid.
And I concur with Jerry. I just need to get it all on the spreadsheet for you to see so you can approve it and we'll cut
Okay.
the check. So just reconcile with I got the village audit, I got our disbursements, we'll be able to match it to and find out where the discrepancy is. And we'll
Did we pay the town account portion yet, or no?
No, that's a different matter. That's, let me just one word at a time.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Could I see 5784 and 89?
Okay, mine was going wrong.
That was Township. I know it was Tony last.
Oh, yeah, that's third on the file, and that's the other one with Joe Linsky. that dirt pile thing, I would like to have the check. We are not issuing it to them. They foreclosed on the property. And he said that he wants the money. I go, until you show me documentation that he still owns it, and I will keep the check, so that one will be held.
What's that?
Joe Wynn,
78,
Streamwood property, he got foreclosed on. So what's his name?
Oh, that $600 check?
Wanowski or something?
Yeah.
Wanowski?
He, but I just asked it, you know, I would like to have the check, and he was supposed to give me one from the attorney saying that he owned that lot then. And I am assuming that he's not gonna come up with it, so. And we're hoping we're starting.
That's two separate parcels, so.
Yeah, well,
I don't
it all
know what-
depends.
What, you know, I know the houses, I don't.
And that's where the legal, you call that legal
Yeah.
crap? If the mortgage company got both lots,
Yeah, that I
or
know.
if they only got one lot.
Yeah,
But that's why I just don't send
Yeah,
that one out, please.
cut that one in half.
5787.
What's
Check number
the
6.
vendor name?
For the lot.
Oh, I know.
36.48.
89,
Yeah.
what we going on?
Need 1 hour?
Oh, I see it, yeah. Yeah, for the $600, okay, all right.
That didn't go out.
No, Tracy got it.
There you go.
We also got a voided check from the township highway officials of Illinois area. They claim we paid twice
Anything,
and they sent one back.
Pat,
so
Pat, that you guys want to, Dan, you want to see?
That's gotta come out of the bill. We'll fix that. I don't know what happened. They claim we paid it twice. You know, I guess you must have sent it twice or something. I don't know. Don't want to spend it.
You got to try back tonight?
I don't, I just balance the books right there. I don't know what goes on there.
Are you good, Ted? Motion to approve the payment of bills for road and bridge account amount of $36,696.66.
Second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yeah.
No? No discussion, roll call?
Dan?
Yes.
Ted?
Yeah.
Elmer? Abstain. Bob?
Yes.
Pat? Yes.
Town account?
Tom, did you do payroll for the trade?
I did a report, Joe, that and the supervisor asked me to revise it because he felt that it wasn't accurate for what he wanted to present to us, so I'm gonna tweak it a little bit and get it to you.
Signature, please. Pass it down after you sign.
We'll have one,
Pardon me?
next meeting we'll have
Yeah.
one.
Yes, sir.
A couple of questions from the road, or excuse me, from the town account.
Sure.
Road bridge is done. What's this mausoleum thing?
What is it?
That was a subway bill for the. food
Oh,
for-
we actually hosted a meeting here. We actually bought lunch for them. It's the, what's happening with the mausoleum is that there was an association that was formed in 1913. Now, we reinstituted the association. It never went out of business. So basically, we're working with that group now, the association, so that it doesn't fall back to the township.
Okay.
So.
Well, that's what I was wondering, because
yeah.
I know we had a
No,
discussion
no,
years
yeah,
ago
yeah.
about some.
But it's being proactive, and then it looks pretty good. Just real quick, Dan, is there's a lot of crypts in there, and what empty crypts, what could happen is somebody else could come in there, buy the thing, sell it all out, and then walk away from it, and then we'd have another type situation. So we're trying to alleviate that now, so,
And we just now are paying the 4th of July commission?
yes.
Oh, I gotta try to do it. The other question I had is with the transportation. There, I just was wondering what the difference is. There, let's see. Oh, their payroll and that kind of stuff is different than what's on the transportation
Like
report.
$163.
Well, these are
Once more,
separate.
Dan, where are we at now? For transportation?
Just the payroll and that kind of thing.
This
And I just
is-
was wondering what's not included in the transportation one that is included in the.
Wasn't that last time, Tom, wasn't that pending payments to the state, because those are quarterly?
This one, like labor, just the labor price.
That said something covered.
there's, what Pat was explaining here is that this report is only for the one,
For the community vehicle program, for the manhole. Oh, I don't know,
and so does,
I haven't looked at
so
the
the other
cost,
stuff might
but
include
that,
other.
this should always be different from the PACE report.
Dan, I refer all transportation questions to Pat Peters.
That's why I was showing.
We're going
That's
to,
what
yes, yes. And I'm not sure I even had a chance to look at it,
It's
obviously.
like, it's only like
$163.
something, but the overall account, transportation account is like $1,300. That's the part of it, that's not really the other part.
Tom, what's that?
Well,
Tom, the discrepancy isn't you, it's my report
Okay.
versus the PACE report.
Oh, yeah.
Our
Yeah,
report
we're
versus
always
the
gonna be, there's
difference.
No,
gonna be
that's
some
why I was
carryover
wondering
with
what the
that,
difference
yeah.
is.
But I'm looking at the bills presented here, Joe, and I don't see an amount in for transportation.
You probably didn't get the
Oh,
final
I did not,
copy.
okay.
Okay.
Because
87.29.
87.29.73 is
Yes.
the correct
Yeah.
amount, we all
Yes.
agree, okay,
Yeah.
fine.
No, that was against the PACE report.
Right, yeah.
So there's, because it only covers part of the program, doesn't cover the whole.
Correct,
project.
you're going to see a discrepancy even in total riders. are
Yeah,
gonna be
there's,
different.
yeah, we have, it's a timing issue, what we call a timing issue. in trade, so, yeah.
Okay. Timing issue.
It is, it's a timing issue. It's 1 month of carryover and next week.
That means almost balanced.
Almost, almost balanced, right?
Yeah, almost balanced.
Who's in control of this meeting?
We're doing bills.
We're a team.
Certainly.
Bobby. We're a team.
You said we're all one,
We're all,
we're all.
we're a well-oiled mechanism up here.
Way to go.
Rudolph Mozzarelli, Medicaid training for drivers, what does that include as far as what's?
I refer all questions about transportation to the,
That was training we hosted here. I believe we did get one driver free because we hosted it. It started at, what Saturday was that? The 18th of?
It was 11 to 6.
Yeah, from 11 to 6. It's required in order to receive Medicaid,
Okay. It's just how they have to
DHFS funding.
Gotcha.
If the driver's not certified, and this is through Western Illinois University from Rural Transit Association, is who puts this on.
It's like a CPR thing? Is that what you're doing?
No, it's how to properly board a wheelchair, a
Oh, I
customer service skills.
That's what I was, that's
To
what I was wondering what
touch,
it
not to
covered.
touch, thorough. Well,
Don't
it's
touch.
very thorough training from beginning to
Don't
end
touch nobody.
of their bus driving.
Can I ask that we get some kind of documentation from him, because all I have is a check?
we have
Like, oh,
certificates.
I had it after the fact, and I forgot to give it to you.
Okay.
I had like.
Just
all
so I
the
have,
paperwork.
from an audit standpoint, they're gonna say, well, prove it to me.
And I
Well,
believe
the
that's their
certificates.
certificates up
Just
there.
give me something that he, with his name on it, that he was here
Yeah,
today.
I
Okay,
got a bunch of,
perfect, thanks.
I'll scan them and email them.
Motion to approve the payment of town account bills in the amount of $29,233.60.
Do I hear a second?
Seconded?
Homer seconded. Any discussion? No discussion? Roll call?
Dan?
Yes.
Elmer?
Yes.
Ted?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Pat?
Yes.
Okay, what else do we have? Anything?
Whatever's on the
Did you
announcement.
did you pass out fund balances?
Yes, sir, everybody got a copy?
Yeah.
Okay, good, me. Okay, you can see that, it's kind of surprising, we're over $1 million in the bank right now, so.
1.2, in fact, as
Yeah.
of today, 1.27, I think.
Okay, well, right now it's-
Okay. Upcoming seminars and meetings, October 1st, we have the Washington Township Board meeting, 7 PM. Actually, we're gonna have the workshop at 6. Joey?
Pardon?
6 o'clock, we're having the workshop.
Yeah, 6 o'clock on the.
Okay. Announcement, September 15th, senior breakfast, 8:30 a.m. at the Cardinal Creek. Looks like we're gonna have a pretty good turnout. There's been a lot of interest, a lot of calls in there.
Do you need help earlier setting up or anything at all?
You know, I can move on Friday evening.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's wonderful.
We received some
Oh, I appreciate it.
prizes for donations, raffles, if anybody wants to contribute. full-time.
Elizabeth, do you need me to bring the sound system over Friday afternoon, or can you guys get it over there? Friday when I get home from work, or do you want to do it during the day, or?
Or music.
I would say, if anything, yes, to help the builder.
Okay, we get it plugged up. Okay.
Okay, September 19th, we've got the senior movie night. What is the movie?
Warhorse,
Warhorse.
kind of long.
Good.
quick kind of long,
We have complimentary pie,
for now.
coffee, and
Only half as much. Only half as much.
I feel so guilty. I don't work there anymore.
All right, is there any other business from before the board? If not, Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I second it.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Aye, so have it so ordered. Thank you. Congratulations, Dan.